Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Timm, and I am the videographer of the Nathan David series on my YouTube channel, and I am going to bring you another gun cleaning video. So today, we're going to be looking at cleaning the Norinco 1911 A1. This is a Colt model, but it was manufactured by Norinco, who is a Chinese military arms manufacturer, and they actually put out a really good product. So this is in the style of a 1911 Colt, as you can see, and what we'll do is we'll take you through disassembly and then cleaning and then reassembly. So again, my name is Timm, and before we get started on all my gun cleaning videos, I do like to go through some gun safety. So just to get people up to speed on gun safety, and gun safety is something that is a very good thing to go through and to review whenever and however you can. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm handling this gun safe. If you notice that my finger is on the slide and it's not even on the trigger guard and it's not in here. So you always want to handle a gun and treat a gun as if it's loaded and ready to fire at all times. So what I'm going to do before I start cleaning this and disassembling it, I want to make sure that this firearm is unloaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the magazine, okay, and I notice that it is loaded, so I have ammunition in there, and I'm going to set that up there. Now, a lot of people might think that once they take a magazine out of a firearm that it's safe, and that's not necessarily the case, because what we're going to do is we're going to check and make sure that there's not a round in the chamber. So I'm going to rack the slide, I'm going to take the safety off, I'm going to rack the slide, and we'll see what happens. Aha! So we found a round in the chamber. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that round, I'm going to put it back right here in the magazine, and I'm going to set the magazine aside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lock the slide back, and if you can see, there is no round in the chamber at all right there. There is no round you can see in the chamber, and it goes down into where the magazine would go. And so this firearm is unloaded and it is safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start describing the takedown process for this. So I'm going to release the slide, and first thing we're going to do is this is your slide stop right here, and what we're going to do is, if you can see here, this is the main notch for the slide stop, and then there's this little other groove right here, and that's a cleaning groove. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to advance the slide until, I don't know if you can see this that well, we're going to go ahead and advance the slide until it gets to that point, and then on the other side there was a pin that just kind of jutted out, and we're going to take the slide stop off. So we're going to take that off. So now the slide should be able to just come right off the frame. So this is your slide, and what we're going to do is we are going to there is a bushing on the front of the barrel right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take that out. So I'm going to use a straight edge screwdriver, and I am going to press this part of the gun in, and we'll show you what this looks like. So we're going to press that in, and then what we're going to do is we are going to, and this does not want to go in. Okay. Well, let's see what we got here. There we go. Alright. This does not want to go in. Okay. There we go. Alright. So we got it there. There was just a little bit of stick with this. And I just want to show you what I'm doing. This part of the barrel right here, if you can see this, kind of this U-shaped thing, this is a bushing. And this is actually holding the spring from shooting out this lower end of the slide here. So, and this is supposed to spring out back and forth, and that was just stuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press that in, and then I'm going to turn this bushing so that it goes and holds that piece right here from springing out. And then while that is pressed in, I'm going to go ahead and turn this all the way to the right, and then slowly let the spring out. If you can see what I did. And this is your spring, and then this is the bushing that I just turned to the right. It will only turn one way, and then I am going to take out the guide rod here, and we're going to make sure that that gets taken out. Well, I haven't cleaned this one in a bit, so stuff might be a little stuck. Okay, I'm going to take out the bushing here. This should just come out. Yeah, this needs a good clean. Alright. Well, sorry about this, folks. There we go. The guide rod came out. And again, the reason I'm having a little bit of difficulty with this is because I just haven't cleaned this gun in a while, and so a lot of the parts are sticking. But this is going to be your guide rod for your spring. And I'm just going to set that aside, and then the bushing, perfect, should come off like this. And there's your bushing. I'm going to set that aside. And then your barrel should just be able to fit right through the slide here. Free this up a bit here. Kind of have to wiggle it out. There we go. Alright, so we're going to set that aside. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to wet a patch down. And for this, I like to use Hoppy's number 9 solvent. This is a really good solvent. This can be found at any hardware store. If you go to True Value, any Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, Gander Mountain, any local sporting goods store. And this is really good. Takes down a lot of the fouling that you get, and this is just a really good all-around solvent. It's been around for years, so this is really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and wet a patch, and we're going to get this slide and this frame all clean. So we're going to get that all clean in there, get that fouling out. I tend to be quite religious with the cleaner. In my videos, I tend to use quite a bit of it, but then my philosophy is I can always towel that cleaner off and oil where I've cleaned. So I really like clean firearms. I just find that they work much, much better, and they cycle much better, and they last a lot longer. So I'm just taking this patch and I'm just wiping this whole slide down, making sure to get in the crevices, making sure to get all the fouling out of there as best I can. You might have to use multiple patches for this. As you can see, this patch is getting pretty dirty. So I'm going to be using a new patch here shortly, and make sure I get all of that taken care of. Alright. When you clean guns, you go through a ton of patches. Alright. Okay, we're going to get all of this fouling out of here, and then the next time you go to disassemble your firearm, it'll be that much easier to take apart because you're not having to fight fouling that has not been cleaned off the gun. Alright. Get all that in there. There we go. Okay. Alright. Yeah, that Hoppies is great stuff. It devours fouling, and it dissolves it really, really well. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside for the time being, and I'm going to work on the spring. Here, again, I want to make sure that I coat all metal pieces with cleanser, and make sure that I clean all the fouling off, because that's just going to increase the health of your equipment here. And as I've said in other firearm cleaning videos, you know, how well you treat your equipment is directly related to the performance you get from it, which is the same if you're cleaning guns or if you're cleaning garden implements or lawn implements or anything. So the better you take care of your equipment, the better your equipment is going to take care of you. That is what I have learned. And again, I'm just going to make sure all of this fouling gets cleaned off of here. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to wipe down the guide rod and make sure that gets all cleaned. And then I'm also going to do a really good coat of oil on this. Okay, perfect. Alright. Now, oh, can't forget the bushing. Yeah, this is good. Get all that fouling out of there. Alright. And what I'm using is I'm just using standard patches, standard cotton square patches by Hoppies. That's also by Hoppies. And you can get these. These happen to be 16 to 12 gauge shotgun patches, but I tend to use the bigger patches just because it's more surface area to work with, and they just seem to do a lot better. But you can use a small one. A lot of people like to be caliber specific, but so long as it's a patch, I love to use it and make sure my guns get as clean as they can be. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and wet another patch, and we're going to wipe down the barrel. Then we're going to get in the barrel and clean out all the fouling in there. This is going to be good. As I say, this hasn't been cleaned in a while, so I am going to make sure to do a very thorough job. Okay. Alright, what I like to do with the barrel is I'm going to go ahead and get a brush going with the barrel here, and I want to make sure to get a 45 brush, which is this right here. And what I do is I have a Remington 27-piece gun cleaning kit that I like to use, and it is really neat. It takes care of what you need to take care of, and I think it's a really good buy. And you can find a decent cleaning kit for maybe $20-30. If you do a lot of shooting, why it's worth spending the money, because you get a good product with Remington. I've always been very, very happy with Remington. So, and if you notice, what I'm doing is I'm just going ahead and scrubbing all the fouling out of there. Sometimes you get lead and copper fouling in the grooves of the rifling, and I'm making sure to take a bronze bristle brush to get all of that out of there. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to run a few patches down, and I just want to get one in there. If you can see what I'm doing, and if you can see how black that fouling comes out, it's really good to get all of that out of there. Typically you shouldn't dip your brush in your cleanser, but that cleanser is almost gone, so I am just using the last few bits of it. Okay. Alright, yeah, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and run a cleaning jag down through there. I'm just taking this portion of the cleaning rod apart so I can feed some patches through there, and I can show you what that looks like. That's another good thing with that hot piece number 9. You loosen and lubricate the fouling in there so it's easier to scrub out of there. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm putting some cleaning patches into this cleaning jag right here. And what we'll do is we'll feed this down in there, and that will soak up a lot of the fouling. Yeah, there we go. And if you can see just how black that's coming out, and that's really good because that means you're getting the fouling. You're getting it taken care of, and that's really good when you're dealing with firearms. A lot of people I know, they'll be lazy and they'll take, they'll shoot the gun and they'll put it in the case for next year without cleaning it, without taking any type of care with it, and that's really detrimental to your firearm. You can't treat your firearm well enough, in my opinion. There we go. And I'm just doing this a few more times just to make sure that I'm getting all the fouling out of there, and then what we'll do is we'll run some clean patches through there just to make sure we get all of the fouling out of the grooves and out of the rifling itself. Okay. Alright, we are getting there. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to put these patches aside, and then we're going to go ahead and follow that up with some clean patches. Make sure that we get all the soiled cleanser and all the fouling out of there that we can get. Alright. I also do some black powder shooting. One thing I like about shooting modern firearms or smokeless powder is that the cleanup is actually a lot less than if you were to shoot a black powder firearm. Because if you were to shoot a black powder firearm, you couldn't shoot it and then just put it in the case and then come back next year. You would have just a pile of rust by the time you came back to it. If you don't clean it within about a day's time, you're already starting to get rust on there. Okay. Oh, my phone is ringing. And Las Vegas, Nevada wants to get a hold of me. Alright. Well, I don't know who or what is out in Las Vegas that involves me, but that is okay. Alright. But the gun cleaning videos are more important than Las Vegas. Alright, I'm just going to run another clean patch down there so I can soak up all the old fouling and make sure that it's dry in there. Alright. Try one more clean patch. There we go. Alright. And if you notice with the barrel as I'm cleaning it, this is the face of the barrel and then this is the breech. And what I'm doing is I'm actually going in from the back of the barrel. I'm going in from the breech instead of the actual muzzle. And the reason I'm doing that, it's what's nice about this is the entire barrel comes out. And the reason I'm doing that is because if you clean from the face or the front or the muzzle of the barrel, what will happen is sometimes you can have nicks occur right in here and with the fouling, and that can dramatically affect accuracy. So you always want to clean from the breech if you can. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright. What I do is I look to make sure that there's no fouling in the grooves or fouling anywhere else. I make sure the rifling is clear, and I don't know if you can see that. Again, I know I'm just doing this from a tablet, but it should look completely clear. That looks good. Alright. So I'm going to set that aside, and now this is not going to be a complete field strip video, as I am going to leave the frame largely untouched, but I just did this to disassemble the slide just to show you what this looks like. But I am going to go ahead and take a patch and wipe down the metal of the frame, just so I can make sure to get all the fouling, as much fouling out as I can. Alright, so we're going to clean this, and as you can see, we're already starting to get quite a bit out of here. So this is good. And once you clean your firearm, it's kind of nice. It doesn't have to be a chore. You can fix yourself a cup of coffee or grab a Mountain Dew or a Rockstar or whatever and enjoy what you're doing and sit down and even put on some music and clean your firearm. And it can be fun. It can be a good, relaxing thing to do. So, alright, we're going to do this a little bit more. Excellent. And we're going to go ahead and make sure we get all the stuff out of there. Okay. There we go. I'm going to follow that up with a clean patch. Make sure everything is cleaned out of there. Again, I tend to be a little bit religious with the cleanser. You don't have to be. But my philosophy is I can always wipe it down and make sure that I get most of the excess cleanser out of there. So, but I would much rather be overly cautious on cleaning than not. So, alright. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my towel, and I'm just going to go ahead and wipe this down, wipe the excess cleanser down. And we are going to go ahead with reassembly. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to go ahead and wipe the excess cleanser down off the slide and make sure that I get in to all the nooks and crannies. Alright. Okay, so the last step before we reassemble is I want to make sure that everything gets a good coat of oil on it. And I want to show you guys kind of a neat thing that I've learned is Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil has been touted as one of the best gun oils out there. And I was talking to a gentleman that was a prospector from Exxon, and we got talking guns. And he said, Steve, the best thing you can do is use Mobil 1 synthetic. And I'd never heard of that before. It never occurred to me to use a motor oil for a gun oil. And I have found this to be the only gun oil I need. It is fantastic. So, and 1 liter or 1 quart of oil will last you forever because you only use just a little bit of it. And I'm just going to go ahead and wet a corner of a patch. And folks, this is all you need. You just need 1 corner oiled, and you just take it in. And what's nice is it doesn't gum up your firearm. It doesn't stink of motor oil. It doesn't interfere with the operation of it at all. And it sticks to the metal, which is really nice, because then you don't have to worry about rubbing any off. You don't have to worry about it evaporating. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and make sure this gets a good coat. And I tend to be, again, a little religious with oil. You don't have to be, because it does just need a small coat, just a light coat to get all the metal coated and covered. But I figure I can always wipe off the excess. So I'm going to do the same thing here with the barrel, with the same patch. And make sure this gets a good coat of oil. Make sure all exposed metal parts get covered. And make sure this gets a good coat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead with the inside of the barrel and make sure that gets coated as well. Alright, so this is all getting coated with a good coat of oil. And again, I just make sure that all the parts, all exposed metal is covered. Here's the bushing. This is also important with handguns, especially if you use handguns as carry weapons. This 45 is one that I carry occasionally when I hunt. I don't typically carry it concealed because it is a little bit bigger and it is harder to conceal, but occasionally I have carried it concealed. So, and again, the more religious you are with cleaning it, the better it will perform. If you have to use it, if you find yourself in a situation while you are carrying concealed, which we all hope never happens, because you never want to be in that situation if you can help it. So what I'm doing here again is I'm just making sure that the all metal parts get a good wipe down with oil. If you notice that some oil is getting on the stock of the firearm, I have not found that harms it. But if you feel that, if you're watching this video, if you feel that that is a little overkill, or if there is harm to that, why, please feel free to let me know in the comments. That's awesome. Okay, so this is oiled. We've got the barrel oiled, and what we're going to do, last step, is we're going to go ahead and use a bore mop, and we're going to go ahead and feed some oil into the barrel. I'm just going to wet this a little bit with some oil. Excellent. And we're going to go ahead and put it on the end of cleaning ramrod, and we're going to give the inside of this barrel a good coat of oil. And again, you always want to start from the breech, and just a few passes with the bore mop should do it. Okay, and the inside is all oiled. Excellent. Excellent. Alright. So, now we cleaned our 45, and now we're going to go ahead, we're going to start the reassembly process. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to put the barrel back in. And the barrel, simply, if you notice how it came out the end like this. We're just going to fit this back in the barrel like that. You may have to wiggle it a little bit, but that should be good. You just fit it back in like that. And what I'm going to do, if you notice this loop, what I'm going to do, instead of having it down like that, I want to leave it up like that, because that is where your stop is going to fit back into. Okay, next process with the assembly is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to feed in your guide rod. And this, actually, I'm feeding it in the wrong way. And this should go in with this part towards the barrel. Should fit in, actually. That's much easier. Excellent. If you notice what I did, I was trying to fit it in from the front of the barrel, and it's actually easier if you just fit it in like that. And if you notice, there's going to be a groove right here at the bottom, and that will line up with the barrel. So you're going to have that facing towards the barrel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the bushing, I'm going to go ahead and put the stop right here, which you'll notice that one end is different than the other end. You want the end that kind of sticks out to be the one that sticks out of the gun. And you know, it would help if I put my spring in. I I haven't had enough coffee today, folks. Sorry about this. Alright, so we're gonna press that in, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do with the bushing. Okay, we're gonna make sure we hold that in, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna feed the bushing in. And the bushing is going to only go one way, so it's going to go just like this, if you can see that, and then we're gonna turn this around, and this should click into place. Okay, or maybe not. Well, let's check this out here. Okay. Oops. Ha! You guys watching this video, you're going to be like, yeah, I want to get cleaning advice from Steve. Okay. Let's try it again. Alright, so we're going to take the bushing out, and it is actually easier, now that I think about it, it is actually easier to put this in first. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put the bushing in like this, if you can see that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn it just like that, and it should look like that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn it all the way around so it faces to the right. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to feed in our guide rod like we did before. Alright, and we're going to put in our spring. We're going to feed it through the barrel, through the opening below the barrel, I should say. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and feed one of the stops in right here. And then this is good because then what I can do is I just use a flathead screwdriver, and I'm going to hold this part in while I rotate the bushing around, if you saw that. So this was sticking out, and then I simply press that in with a flathead of a screwdriver, and if you notice how that goes in, and then I rotated this back around to the left. Okay. So that completes the assembly of the slide. We got the barrel in, we got the spring, we got the guide rod in. Alright, and I'm just going to go ahead and wipe the excess oil down. And what's nice about using the Mobile 1 synthetic is that a thin film of oil will still stay on the metal, which is nice. You're not going to wipe the whole thing off, so which is very nice. Okay. So, I'm going to find my cylinder stop, or my slide stop rather, and we're going to go ahead, and basically reassembly is sort of like the Glock. We're just going to slide it back on here, and we're going to make sure that this is in there. Alright, perfect, and this is going to slide back. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to go ahead and we are going to install our slide stop. So it's going to go on the other side, and then we're going to press this in, and then if you notice right here, there is a little spring-loaded thing right here. And that is for your safety. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that back. Oops. I need a better quality screwdriver is what I need. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and press this back. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see how we're doing. Alright, something is not working here. Alright, so I'm just going to see what's going on here. Okay. So I needed to have the slide back. Okay, there There we go. A little bit further. Sorry about that, folks. And where was the screwdriver? Ah, there we go. So I haven't had enough tea or coffee or whatever it is today. Alright. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to slide this back. Yeah, that clicks into place right there. Okay, so this should be fully assembled. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and wipe it down. And I'm going to go ahead and cycle the action. Alright. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and the safety works. So I'm going to click the safety on and off, and that works. Okay, cycling the action, excellent. Go ahead and pull the trigger, the hammer comes forward, and since the hammer is forward, it doesn't allow me to put the safety on until I cock it again. Excellent. And I just want to make sure that, excellent, the slide stop works. Excellent. Alright. So this has been cleaning and disassembly and reassembly of the Norinco 1911, model 1911 45. And I'm sorry for the slight hiccups there, so I think I need to go fix dinner. But I'm going to sign off, but before I do, I always like to do a pro gun pitch. I always like to let people know that if you are new to shooting, or if you're new to the shooting sports, get educated. If you're on the anti-gun side, find out a little bit more about what guns are. And people are calling me. Let's see. I don't want to talk to that person. That person's strange. But anyway, yeah, if you don't know guns, or if you happen to be on the fence, or if you happen to be anti-gun, I encourage you to look up guns. And if you know somebody that shoots, ask if you can join them at the range, because it is really a fun hobby, and I think finding out what guns are, and more importantly, finding out what they're not, is very, very important. So, again, this has been the cleaning of the Norinco Colt 1911 45 A1, and stay tuned, because in the future I will have many more gun cleaning videos as time permits. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe.